Hey everyone, welcome to the Bible Bell Bros podcast.
Did you lose your voice?
No, I don't. It dropped for a second, but I'm back, baby.
All right. Just a brief moment of puberty there.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So, Dusty, my family, we like to, tell people don't suck.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're going to go do something, my brothers go up to bat, or we go jump off a diving board, whatever. You've probably heard me say it 1,000 times. Don't suck.
Yeah, you never say, I hope you do a good job. You say, don't suck.
Yeah. I've told that to our pastors before, Rusty and Kyle. If you go up to preach, even if I don't know you, I'm going to say, don't suck. And, their responses are all the same. Thanks for the vote of confidence or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so our pastor, and every time our pastors are done preaching, I don't say, hey, you did a great job. No, that's not me. I always say, man, that sucked.
Or that didn't suck, or you just always say
no,
I
say that sucked.
Yeah.
And then I start talking to them about the points that they talked about so that they know I listened. And then I do always say, great job. Or if they did great, I tell them. I'm not going to lie. If you legit sucked, I will let you know you legit sucked. But I did that today, obviously, and it was, our lead pastor. And he goes, love you too, Fishy. That's it. He knows. He just love you too.
He gets it. He gets you.
Yeah.
And if people don't get you, then
they're going to get offended pretty quickly if they don't know me. It's funny.
But we get to that age, right, where a lot of times I start caring less and less of what people think of me.
Right.
If you don't get me, that's fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get me. And a lot of people probably talk bad about me behind my back. It's cool. It's fine. I
just want people, I don't want to lie to people. The Bible says do not lie. So I don't want to lie. And so
when you're like, man, you spend 5 minutes preparing that sermon? Is that what you...
Man, see, I'm not quick-witted like that. I'm quick-witted, but for some reason, stuff like that doesn't pop into my head. No, I just dude, we've heard this 1,000 times, and I've heard it better, and so
yeah. Hey, nice Francis Chan sermon. Do stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. Man, I feel I've heard that one before. Oh yeah. The guy who taught you, he preaches the same sermon. Matter of fact, he used the same story you did. Yeah, but you said it was you in the story.
Okay, now you're calling your dad out. I remember when he was a youth pastor, he would tell stories. He would preach a sermon from Vodi Bakum, and he was transparent with it.
He would.
He wasn't trying to hide it as this is me. And I think I've mentioned this, but TikTok now has kind of ruined it for pastors who do that, because you'll see the same stories given by pastors, multiple people in their church are sharing how awesome this sermon was, and it's
and then somebody links, here's the actual sermon.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar. Let's see what do they call that when they do the second video and it's the same sermon or the same video? People take a video and then they do their own thing on top of it.
Oh.
What do they call that?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, so they'll have that sermon and then they'll show a Francis Chan or something.
Right. Yeah. So your pastor gives the Timu version of the actual.
Right. Yeah. And your dad used to always be like, when I played college football. I'm
baseball.
What?
He didn't play football.
No, Vodi Bakum played football.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're right.
When I played college football, I was a lineman. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This reminds me on the show the movie The Jerk, and he's like, I was born a black baby.
So that's funny because yes. So I was about to say that because Vodi, would talk about his upbringing as a poor black child. Yeah. He would do it in a funny joke. But, Dad says that.
Right. He kind of... Man, your dad would have benefited back then with AI.
Yes.
Because you could put transcripts in now and hey, write me a sermon, basically the same points, but here's my stories instead.
But wait, I thought we wrote an AI policy last...
We did write it last episode. So
So we can't endorse it anymore, right?
Well, was it just an image policy, or was it just any use of AI?
I don't know.
I don't really know. A lot of people, I think, are just pulling the image policy.
Okay. All right. We'll adopt the image policy then.
Yeah, because
we can still use AI. Thank
we can
goodness.
still, we can still use AI. Just
I thought we were going to stop the
we
podcast.
can't put graphic designers out of business. That's who we're trying to protect.
So your job?
No, I'm not a graphic designer. I would rather use AI for the graphics, so I don't have to do that. That's so time consuming. Anyway, this week, Andrew, you brought up a topic about, I think, kind of just being like that God doesn't necessarily call you. You don't have to. We'll say it this way. I've heard it this way from somebody else's sermon. God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the called.
Right.
And that kind of was what came to my mind when you sent me this.
Yes, but it's not. So I was trying to stay away from that.
Oh, okay. Then
even when I sent that to you, it goes along that same route, because even if you are qualified for it, it doesn't mean that's what God is going to make you do every time you do something.
Okay.
If you're a dentist and you go on a mission trip, you don't have to do dental work. Or if you're a doctor, you don't have to do medical work. If you could go teach kids in a Sunday school setting, or go build a church in Mexico, or go package meals at a homeless shelter somewhere. That you could do that. It doesn't always have to be what you do, your profession in the real world. Okay. Essentially, I say real world. Let's take that one back.
Well, let's just rewind this whole episode, Andrew, real quick, and let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
So we're talking about Matthew. Matthew was a tax collector in one of Jesus' disciples.
So my question, Dusty, Matthew, why was he not holding the money? Why was Judas holding the money? Matthew was obviously the most qualified. He's an accountant. He knows money. He knows how to count. He's educated.
Budgeting and all that kind of stuff.
So why wasn't he in charge of the money?
And we don't really know what Judas did beforehand.
Yeah, we don't know his profession, right?
We don't know his profession pre-Jesus, but we do know that he was the one that was given in charge of the money. That was like he did the accounting, and the tax collector, obviously, they would have found the discrepancies
quickly, right?
If there were some of
that
what
brings
Judas
up another
is doing.
Point. Was there never an audit?
Yeah, they didn't have AI to do the quick, really audit reports.
So then, did Jesus set Judas up for failure?
Well, that's the question,
that's
right?
A deep dive
that's
there.
A deep dive, because we were talking about that at house church.
Oh, really?
Because, we're going through the book of John, and we're just talking about, because Jesus couldn't save Judas, otherwise Jesus wouldn't be fulfilled. The prophecy wouldn't have been fulfilled.
I'm sure there would have been. It just would have been a different reason, because the Pharisees, well, did it say Judas?
No, I'm just saying it says that he would be betrayed or something. Something like that, be sold. And so, but even Satan entered. It says that Satan entered Judas. So Judas didn't even do it. Right. Satan entered him to go give him up. It wasn't a
man. We could Judas, go down a rabbit hole here.
That's like did Judas do it?
Because Satan can't enter a Christian, someone who has the Holy Spirit in them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Holy Spirit hadn't come down yet.
So could Satan just enter anybody at that time?
I'm sure you have to have a heart that allows.
Because now, as Christians, we can't be possessed. We can be oppressed, but not possessed. So demons, evil spirits, Satan can't enter us.
Because we have the Holy Spirit.
Because we have the Spirit. So you're right, the Spirit wasn't there, but was there something previous to the Spirit? I mean, they had Jesus with them.
I think they had prayer, and they had way more of a lifestyle that every day would keep them away from that.
But I mean, you brought up that we do read that Satan entered Judas. Mm-hmm. So how is my question on that?
How is that allowed?
Yeah. Obviously, that's not what our topic is today.
Sorry.
So let's not go down that rabbit trail.
I want to know so bad.
But I want to explore that, and I feel that's going to be something I
maybe
do.
Maybe that is an episode that we do investigative report.
There we go.
And we investigate Judas's. Did he do it? Is he guilty?
Hey, I like it.
Because then he hung himself out of guilt.
All right.
Like, my question is, immediately after, yes, I've had the thing where, I've sinned, and then he had to immediately you regret it or whatever.
The embarrassment,
So,
the regret. Right.
But could there have potentially been a thing where he didn't know he was guilty of what he did, but he didn't know that he did it? You know how those people like they wake up from something and they're like from a trance.
Right. So did Judas actually hang himself, or did Satan hang Judas?
Basically, did when Judas finally came to realize what he did?
Because like the demons entered the pigs and they ran off the cliff. That was the demons running the pigs off the cliff.
Yeah, who did it?
So did Satan hang Judas, or did Judas do it himself?
All right, that's coming soon to Film Bros podcast.
All right, let's get back to Matthew, accountant. Why didn't he have the money?
Yeah, so that is really what we talked about a little bit, and why I kind of thought you were going with God doesn't qualify. Called the qualified, is that there was other aspects of Matthew's life that obviously he was useful for. Who knows really how much money? I don't really know if it even really talks about how much money was even coming through the disciples' hands anyway, that they would need a full-on tax collector to handle it.
Well, you have to think it had to be enough to support 12 men traveling all over the countrysides to eat, drink, live on, sleep. Mm-hmm. Although Jesus did say when you go into a town, find somebody that can provide for you, essentially.
Yeah, a lot of times they were taken care of.
Right, but you needed money in case you couldn't. And so I imagine there had to be a pretty penny in there to support 12 people doing a full-time mission.
And it didn't feed 5,000 every time that they went with 2 loaves and fish. Maybe sometimes they actually did.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, the food truck's open. Everybody grab a plate.
And
we'll pay the truck driver.
I'm pretty sure it's Luke. It could be John that says, and Jesus did so much more that it couldn't all be recorded because there's not enough paper in the world, essentially, or books in the world.
Right.
So we don't know if they paid for those fish and loaves.
How all the other stuff worked out.
Right. And so
there was enough money you needed somebody to like keep track of it, but there wasn't enough money that maybe you needed a full-on
team
audit and team and somebody who's doing it professionally. When Matthew was part of your text that you sent me, was a very good person to outreach to people who didn't know Jesus.
Yes. And why is that? It's because accountants or tax collectors back there were considered bad people. They didn't know God or have a relationship with God. They just came around and took your money.
They took advantage of people.
Right.
And
they
didn't
would
really
steal
care.
your money.
Take some for themselves.
And so the way I wrote it was sinners know sinners.
Mm-hmm.
And so Matthew was the absolute best when it came to evangelism. I don't think there was anyone who brought more people to Christ than Matthew.
Yeah, the testimony of Matthew speaks volumes when people know him and they're like, that guy used to steal from me and now he's giving back. Like, what?
Yes.
Is Matthew the guy that gave back like 7 times what he stole or something? Or there was a tax collector that did that.
I don't.
Let's go to AI. What?
Well, while you are doing
collector.
that, I will continue my thoughts.
Oh, okay.
So sinners know sinners. So you are surrounded. All your friends, when you're not a Christian, are also probably not Christians. So when you become a Christian, now you have a massive sphere of influence with other non-Christians. That was Matthew. He had all these people he could go to after Jesus spoke to him and after he believed and came to know Christ and essentially, get saved. Then now he's able to go to all of his old friends and be like, listen, Jesus is real. This is real. Follow, listen, and then follow. And it's what he did.
Right. And I was wrong. It was 4 times and it was Zacchaeus. So I was completely off. But there was a tax collector and he repaid more money.
Yes.
But also Matthew was a sign of grace, right? For what Jesus gives to be able to forgive somebody like that. Right. And it's basically like, listen, if I can change my life and Christ can save me and redeem me, he can do that to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I am the worst literally Matthew is considered the worst of the worst. And so him being changed, yeah, you're right. It spoke volumes to people.
So to stick that guy behind the scenes in the books would be a waste of that testimony.
But
talent or
I don't think it is making him behind the scenes. Obviously, Judas wasn't behind the scenes, or the Pharisees would never have come to him to betray Jesus. He had to be out there. He had to be known. He had to be in a situation in which he was in a one-on-one with someone, most likely a Pharisee. Actually, it had to be a Pharisee that he was in a one-on-one with. So I feel if you're behind the scenes, you're not in a one-on-one with a prominent person. You could be.
Could be, because like when Jesus even said, one of you will
betray me,
not one of them was like, Judas?
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, it must be like, which one of you would? And then like nobody's pointing at, it's more of a joke, but nobody was like, all the disciples, was Judas like the 12th in line because he was always buried in the books. And,
yeah, he's a nerd.
Yeah, he was the nerd. He was the nerd of the group. Exactly.
Which is funny because Matthew was probably the nerd of the group.
Probably. The analytical thinker.
Yeah.
And so you wanted to go off of how God doesn't necessarily put us in the position based off of our talent.
Right.
Like when a musician comes to church, they're immediately thrown on the worship team.
Yes.
Right? That's the first thing when, you play guitar? You play guitar? Okay.
Or God may be putting them there to work in the kids ministry.
Exactly.
Or even take out the trash. You don't know, but we put them in a box.
Right.
Based on
their worldly talent.
Right. And so that's kind of what I wanted to bring up in this is Matthew is the clear choice to be the accountant, but he's not. And why is that? Jesus saw something there that obviously we don't understand or we don't see because we don't know much about Judas. Mm-hmm. But we know that he was a disciple, he betrayed Jesus, and then he killed himself. It's really all we know about Judas. Matthew, we know a lot about. One, we have a book, the book of Matthew, mm-hmm. which tells us a lot about Matthew. And then we have Luke, who is a scholar who did a ton of research who has talked about Matthew. So we know a lot about Matthew. We know he was very qualified, but God didn't use him. Why is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But he had a reason. So
yeah, I do want to preface a caveat because it's a tricky subject, right?
It is.
Because I think that the church does kind of use that, situation to put people in positions and then they're lazy. Because just because Matthew's first talent wasn't necessarily maybe preaching or whatever that he ended up doing to be a ministry because he was not doing the accounting side of things, like he was used to doing, I guess is what we're assuming, that doesn't necessarily mean he did a mediocre job, and what I see sometimes at our church is like, hey, we care more about your willingness to do it than we care about your job. And then those people never get better at their job, right? They never practice the talent. They never prepare. Like a kids ministry person, they're still just looking at the curriculum that morning. They're never doing the extra. I don't think that is what Matthew was or what God intends when he puts you in a position that's not your first talent skill. If he's taking you outside of your skill, he's not hoping that you do a mediocre job. He's hoping that you put in the time and the effort and to overcome what your talent has gotten you on the other stuff.
I feel if God puts you there, he's going to put that desire in you. So if God has called you to kids ministry, he's going to put that. And I say that, and I'm going to use myself as the example. I'm in a position that is way beneath my qualifications, essentially. But I excel at it. I'm really good at it. It's just something that, I don't know, God's given me a passion for it. I love doing it. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say I'm a runner in the kids area. All I do is I get snacks for kids. I watch kids, make sure they don't run out of the designated area for the kids, or if a teacher needs to go do something, then I step in and fill in. But I don't feel a calling to be a teacher, a kids teacher. But I'm great at the runner stuff. And then you look at my daily life, I lead a team of adults. I have multiple nonprofits that I lead. And so I'm in leader capacity in my professional life. But here, I'm the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, you're the runner.
Right.
You're not in charge of anything.
Right. And so it's exactly, it's kind of like Matthew. Matthew is a tax accountant, but that's not what God wanted him to do. Mm-hmm. In my daily life, I'm a leader, but at church, that's not what God wants me to do.
But what I guess I'm also pulling from, so like I'm kind of like in charge of like the youth worship team. And there's a lot of people that want to sing on the worship team. And what I'm dealing with right now, and maybe it's just because God's not actually calling them, they just want to be it. And that's part of it. But
limelight.
For instance, you said passion. Like all these people have passion to be on a worship team, but then they only have passion to do their part. They don't have passion to like be a team. You know what I mean?
That tells me God hasn't placed them there.
or has, and they're just, they're young and not mature enough to understand.
But then you're saying God is not strong enough to put the desire.
Well, what I'm saying is that God has called them because they have a talent, they have a passion. But
I don't think talent equals calling, though. That's kind of my point with this podcast.
I don't think God gives you a talent and it says, "Ha, you can never use this for your life because it's only for you."
Well,
if you
it's
ever
not.
do.
You can never use it because He'll use it in other places, but I don't think you have to use it.
You don't have to. Yeah, you can have a talent in a meaningless thing for sure, or even a meaningful. Like I could I could have talent in singing and then never sing again. Sure, I could run sound or something or something else. I could do
because you know what it sounds like. You know what it should sound like. So you'd be good in the audio.
At some point, I'm going to be kicked out in the audio booth because I'm getting old.
That's true.
Every year, I always think this could be my last year until I get replaced with a younger, more hip person.
So, but yeah, I mean,
but even then, I wouldn't be put in that position. One, like if God called me to be not in my talent, which is just weird to me because your talent also usually follows your passion. I think a lot of times like your dentist scenario is because they're a dentist in real time and they want to do something completely different. And it feels like when they go on a mission trip and they go into a dental mission trip, they're just doing what they do every day.
It's even just going on an evangelism, but somebody's like, "Hey, my tooth hurts." Oh, we have a dentist with us. Let's go get the dentist. He's like, "No, I'm not here to be a dentist. I'm here to teach kids."
And then my argument would be like, then why are you a dentist in real life if that's not your, you know what I mean? Like I get to the point of like, then what was the point of all the sacrifices that you've made in your life and the training that you've done to then not use that for the Lord and do something completely different?
So I don't know his full story. My dentist,
but I hear that a lot.
But let's put it into let's say a doctor. They may not have been a Christian when they went through med school, and then got saved later in life, and now they want to do mission trips. But then somebody who's blind comes to you on this mission trip, and they're like, "Oh, we got a doctor. He can't heal your blindness." But that's what people are. Oh, we have a doctor. Let the doctor look at him. He's an American. Maybe he knows something that your doctors don't know, and this person's not really blind. That's not really how it works.
Yeah.
And doctors, dentists, accountants, whatever your profession is, when you go on a mission trip, when I go on a mission trip, I don't want to always be building stuff, but that's what I'm always going to do because that's my expertise, but that's not what I want to do.
Well, that's what you're always going to do when you go to somebody else's planning a trip. When you went to Peru by yourself and you planned your own thing,
right?
Did you do that?
Nope.
No.
And it was great. But even when we were prepping for that, maybe construction was in the plan on that one. Actually, take that one back. So,
but it's different because
But there have been trips I've been on that construction wasn't in the plan, and then that's what I end up doing somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, need pops up while you're there.
Right.
I don't know. Like it's hard because the reasoning for not doing it could be also selfishness. It's not calling. It is just like
right. That is 100%
because like I think like if you have any way to help somebody, if you're a doctor, if you're an electrician, a plumber, anything that could like help somebody in a moment, but you are upset that you have to do that instead of VBS, for instance, that you have to check your heart a bit. Like aren't you there for a reason, and you have this skill,
but you don't know what God called them. You don't speak to God.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You just have to check they would have,
and I'm sure they have. Like, me when I go on these trips, and they're like, "Hey, let's go do this." I'm like, "It's not what I feel led. That's not why I felt led to come." And so,
right. But could that just be because you weren't there's somebody telling you what to do and what God's telling you to do? And not what?
Again, I literally just said my role that I flourish in is being told what to do at church. I'm a runner. That's what I'm very accustomed and used to people telling. I was in the military. That's what I'm built on, is people telling me what to do. So I don't have an issue with people telling me what to do. My issue is I'm talking to God on a daily basis, and now you're trying to tell me that God is telling you to tell me something different. So that's kind of where that comes from. God's not.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you completely. I'm just saying that because I do agree that just because you can sing doesn't mean you should sing. Just because you can plumb doesn't mean you should do the plumbing. Like there might be something bigger for you in that moment, especially. And we see that all throughout Scripture. It's never the the biggest, like David wasn't the biggest, strongest
Right.
warrior.
He wasn't a warrior at all.
Yeah, he wasn't a warrior at all, and he would end up doing that. Like there's countless stories of little man, no experience, doing like what people who've had tons of experience couldn't do.
Right.
And so like that is the story of Scripture all over the place. So I'm not saying that doesn't exist mostly.
Who was the prophet who was jailed and the king kept calling him to interpret his dreams?
It was David.
Was it David?
King David, not the son, right? Yeah, the son.
He was imprisoned.
Potiphar's wife imprisoned him, and then he interpreted dreams.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, he
was that not David?
That wasn't David.
What is
Was that Ezekiel?
No, what?
No. Okay. Was it
Judas? No.
There's Judas's profession. He was a prophet. No.
I think it starts with a J.
Jeremiah?
No.
Not John. Jesus.
Well, it's not David. Who the heck is it? It's the son, Joseph.
Joseph in the dream.
Coat of many colors. Yes. Man of many dreams.
I mean, it's not what Joseph's specialty was. And so he was never a prophet when he was a kid.
Technically, his specialty was he had dreams. God was speaking to him all the time.
Yep.
And that was his problem, was he didn't have a filter on when to tell people what his dreams was. God says that you're going to bow to me soon. Yeah. If you said that to your brothers,
older
brothers, they're going to beat you up too.
Yeah. And throw you in a hole. Yeah. And if you're your parents' favorite.
I'm the favorite, and God says that you're going to bow to me.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. We see, like you said, time and time again, we see people who are qualified for a certain thing, but that's not what they're being used for. And that's all I wanted to...
My other point was, I was just trying to say that just because you have a talent doesn't mean that God doesn't want you to use that talent. I guess is the better way of saying what I was trying to say. But just because you enjoy doing something doesn't make it wrong that you do it for the Lord. You know what I mean? Like... I don't think God always calls you to something that you're not passionate about or that's not a skill of yours. I think he does do that a lot. He does call you to a skill that you don't know you have yet but at some point, like, you're not the worst. You're not the worst electrician in a world when God calls you to be an electrician, do electrical work, and you've never done it before. Like, that doesn't mean... Well, I've
learned more in construction doing it on mission trips than I've ever learned here.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so it's like you can learn those things. But what I was trying to like warn against earlier was that doesn't mean you should just not learn how to do it. Like, oh, God's calling me to be an electrician. That's way left field. Never done that before. That doesn't mean that you just wing it. You have a brain. If you know that that's God's calling you, like you do the research, you do the practice, you do the stuff that's going to take you to get to that point. You can be skilled at that as well.
Right. That's the easiest route to take is I have this talent. This is what God's called me to do. My whole point on this is that is not always what you have to do.
Mm-hmm. There might be another talent somewhere that you don't know you have.
Essentially what I'm explaining is the road less traveled. It's easy to go down the road that you know and you're comfortable with. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to say, no, I have this talent, but that's not what God is. How many ministries have I led at our church that I'm like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, and so I hand them over.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's.
I told this to Rusty Wednesday, actually. I said, "Man, I've been having some dreams lately of preaching, and I gonna be honest with you, that was the least favorite job of being youth pastor. Because I just the stress of preparing, and you need to say it right, and this might be the only time somebody hears it, and just like that whole week of getting it right, getting it memorized, That's just stressful. I hated doing it. So I was like, I've been suppressing those dreams. Because you know what's way easy for me? To show up and go, oh, can you sing this week? Because guy's sick. They call me at 6 a.m. I'm there at rehearsal by 7.
I mean, you live
and I can leave it
a quarter mile down the road. Why aren't you there by 6:15?
Right. Because what I'm saying is, like, you could call me day of, hey, I got a last minute need. And I have no stress at that at all. I'm like, here's my go-tos.
To ask you stuff. Yeah. The day of.
Right. But I just mean like in my talent, in my safety talent for church, like that's no problem. If you ask me, hey, we don't have somebody to speak tonight, can you speak? I would freeze up. But then I'm having these thoughts of I should be, and I'm suppressing them because it's not easy because I know I'm going to have to do some work. You know, I can't just roll in on a Wednesday, practice the songs as I sing in the shower, and that's the only rehearsal I ever do before a Wednesday night or even a Sunday morning.
Well, you couldn't because you have other people that you have to work with. And so you all have to be in harmony and synchronization. So you couldn't just do that.
I do. That's what I'm saying. I do that. I can easily do that. If they don't know their parts, I can sing their parts. Like I am so confident that, yes, there's like, they need to know their parts, but we're all kind of like, we show up, you should know your part. If you don't, we might cut your part and I'll just sing it. You know, like
But I'm talking like the drums, the electric guitar, the keyboard, whatever, those guys, you all kind of have to be in sync. But okay, I misinterpreted what you were saying, so ignore what I said.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, at least on my part of it, I can just show up. I can just show up. If there was no band and they're like, we need an acoustic set tonight, I would hate doing it, but I could easily do it. I have no qualms of doing it. I'd just be annoyed that I have to do it. But
I'm right there with you because I've been asked to lead next week, actually. And the KTM, and I'm like, I mean, it annoys me, but I also understand everyone else is going to be at kids camp.
Yeah.
So they don't have your typical leaders there. I am qualified to do it and have done it in our church multiple times. So,
and I will say this because I know Randall listens. I'm not saying that I'm talking to adults when I'm preaching. It's only to youth. Okay, there's only youth in my dreams. That's weird, but anyway, I was speaking at a Wednesday night or a camp setting or something. Those are my dreams.
FBI,
it's not,
if you're listening, he lives on 40th
It's not Sunday morning, so don't be thinking I'm being called to preach on a Sunday morning. I will never preach on a Sunday morning.
Don't say never because that's when you're going to do it.
Yeah, okay.
You tell God never. He's like, oh yeah, watch this.
He's like, yeah, I gave you a passion to sing, so you're going to preach and do what you hate instead.
Yep. I'm going to take your singing voice away and make you preach.
Yeah. Well,
anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about, Dusty, is
so like I guess the challenge, you can just kind of look into your life, like what are things that maybe you're suppressing like I am, and just like you know and God's calling you to do, but you have no talent in it right now. You have no idea where to start, but you know that you should be doing it. You should probably start learning how to do it, you know, getting prepared. God's giving you a warning that he's going to use you. You better get prepared. And maybe it's your talent like me that I'm always relying on. It's super easy for me to do, and I 95% of the time do a good job. So, and I rely on that as a talent less than as a...
100% of the time, I'm going to tell you don't suck.
Yeah, and Andrew's very encouraging. So, anyways, thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, listening, and sharing that, and having us part of your... What was last week's episode? Your... daily the belt thing.
Oh, everyday carry.
Yeah, thank you for having us a part of your every Monday carry, because that's when podcasts come out if I edited them on time. We'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy.